Should we tell them? Let's tell them.
Yeah, yeah.
So we actually did this interview twice. Yeah. We interviewed Erik a couple weeks ago. Everything went fine. It was a really good interview, and then my laptop fried itself. So we had to get a new laptop, and we lost that interview. And he's such a sport. He did the whole thing again and answered all the questions all over again. What a guy. Very cool.
I will tell you, this music is great. Your t-shirts are great. I was so thankful I bought a Lord Dying t-shirt.
I
It's not
saw
here
that.
yet.
I saw that.
It's
Yeah.
not here
Yeah,
yet.
it's not here yet. Um,
But anyway, he was great to do this
he
once
appears
again.
very Thor-like in this interview. You'll like it.
So really been enjoying Transcendence, loving it. I
Thank you.
love the juxtaposition of the names. It almost seems like an oxymoron. With clandestine hidden evil, but transcendence is like a godly thing. How'd you put those two things together?
Yeah, it's about like well, that title really has more to do with the narrative of the concept of the record, with the dreamer getting his wish to die and wanting to do it secretively. um on the surface, but it means more to us, I think. It's just about like really becoming whatever you want and not caring about what other people think.
Yeah, I like the juxtaposition of the two. It's really
Yeah, really cool.
clever.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I had to really think about it. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's always a
Cool.
good thing. Yeah.
So originally, way back at the beginning, what brought you guys together as a band?
Oh, yeah. The other guitar player and I, Chris, we've been playing in bands together since we were kids, like 30 years or so. And we wanted to start another band in Portland. We kind of had some time. I had a band in Portland prior to that, and he had just moved here, and wanted to start one. So we started Lord Dying, and the rest is history.
Yeah.
That was like 2000, late 2009.
And where did you get the name from? Is that I was trying to search it to see if it was a figure or like villain.
No, it's something. It basically just means the end of religion to us, and it's a name. It's a name that we've had for a long time, that we wanted to use with the right band, and we've always loved it, and we're happy to use it with this one, and it still works.
It seemed like there was a shift in sound from Poison Altars and Some in the Faithless to Mysterium Tremendum, adding in more elements like clean vocals and melodic guitar parts and stuff. What brought that about?
Yeah, the Mysterium Tremendum, a lot of it had to do with the way that we changed the way we do our songwriting. The whole process was different with demoing everything, and dealing with death in the family. We wanted to do a concept record about death and dealing with death, and which stemmed into making it into a trilogy. That's the new one, is the second part of that. And we wanted to make a record that was different than the first two, without having any boundaries and not really wanting to make it sound like any one certain style. We always wanted to take everything song by song and see where it went.
Yeah.
I like it. So, who came up with the concept of the dreamer? I was trying to figure out in some of your videos if one of them was the dreamer. But if you have like a idea if it's male, female, what they might look like?
I think it's more just like a consciousness, and it's not really a sex. Uh, it's not necessarily male or female, but we don't have like any mascot of it or anything. Like Eddie for Iron Maiden. We don't have that, but it would be cool maybe. But like I think that like in an essence, the character in the Endless Road Home video is sort of like the dreamer. especially with the way that it changes and it doesn't really represent the same thing, and it shows that everything is cyclical. So I think that Lorenzo nailed that.
Yeah, that was a really great. It was neat to watch, like, moving, like the stepping, and you kind of got the real feel, and then all this apocalyptic imagery. So that was really cool.
Yeah, really cool.
So was it planned when you were writing Mysterious Tremendium that the dreamer would get his wish in clandestine transcendence, or was that something decided on later?
Well, really, the dreamer gets his wish at the end of Mysterium Tremendum with the last song, which is instrumental actually. But and then so clandestine transcendence is everything that happens beyond death.
Gotcha.
Wow.
So your bassist and your drummer, they joined right after the last album was made, right? So this is their
Right.
first time recording with you, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the first record.
Interesting. So that's just the way the timing went, I guess, or
Yeah, and it's the first record we've done since I joined the band. So, and they joined, right after Mysterium Tremendum came out. I guess maybe 4 or 5 months after it came out. So we had completed a big U.S. tour, and we had a European tour, a headline tour booked, and they joined right before that and did the European tour with us.
oh, so that's cool. So they had already been on the road with you a bunch of times before they went in the studio with you. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did another tour too after that with Black Label Society and Obituary, and that was a great tour, but it got cut short because of COVID.
Yeah.
Don't even say it. So much of it, is about the dreamer and getting his wish and dying. I don't know. Have you ever seen the series 6 Feet Under?
I have, yeah, I like that show.
He had never watched it. We actually recently finished up watching we watched the whole series. It's on some streaming device or something. But I think that really punctuates, the strangeness of death and what we do with it in this country.
For
Like
sure.
I think it's, it's almost weird with the having to look at the body, and I always have to walk up and go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Okay, this is long enough. How long do I have to stare at this?
Right.
Or everyone always has to say how good the corpse looks.
Right, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bizarre. I can't imagine growing up in like an embalmer's house like that, but I'm sure it gives you a very interesting take on death.
That was a badass hearse she drove, though. That was
Yeah,
pretty
for
cool.
sure.
I'd love to pull up in that. Yeah, that's cool.
That'd be a good tour van for you guys. What do you think?
Yeah, roomy. Yeah.
Somebody in Portland drives a hearse that's part of the metal scene, and they got custom plates on it that says "See you soon."
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I really like how you kind of experimented with some clean passages, and now you got Alyssa, so you can add some female vocals. In adding the softer, it seems like the harder and the heavier got even heavier. Was that done on purpose?
Yeah, definitely. We wanted all the extreme parts to be more extreme, and we wanted to also make all the pretty parts even more grandiose. So just trying to push ourselves harder in every direction, which I feel like we did, and that was something we tried at first with Mysterium Tremendum, and then we felt like we had to top that too and go even harder.
How was it working with Kurt Ballou?
It was great. Yeah, Kurt's awesome. Such a great producer. Really easy to get along with too. Really nice dude. It was a pleasure to record with him. I think we'll do another record with him probably next. Yeah, he's awesome. Can't have enough good things to say about Kurt.
What was there any like one eureka thing that you can think of that he came up with where you were like, wow, I never thought to do it that way before?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he did a lot of stuff with vocals and guitars. Some of the guitar stuff that like he builds pedals, and he also builds guitars and basses, and so we had a lot of stuff to use, and he sells those things too, and they're all amazing. but we had so much stuff to experiment with, and he had like this box that sort of vibrated and created a noise along the same tone of what was the music that was playing, and it just created this atmosphere behind everything, and we used that a bit too. That was really cool.
Wow, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys did a great job of really, really pushing things and changing things up. We were talking about a bond broken by death, which was the biggest departure we felt like, on the album. We almost said it was like some kind of hammers of misfortune, wildness to it. It's such a wild ride. What inspired that song to bring in so many different changes?
Yeah, that was part of that was some of the first music we wrote for it, and it was all like one continuous piece, and we broke it up. And it's the first stuff that was written after Mysterium Tremendum, and the beginning part of it was the instrumental track that happens before it, and it goes right into Bond Broken by Death. And we wanted to have, I don't really know exactly. I think that we were still kind of fresh off of writing from Mysterium Tremendum when we wrote some of that, so it's like got maybe the guitars are a little bit more sparkly, or I don't know what the right term is for it, but then it does shift and change, and we wrote that over time. So it's kind of the beginning riff that was written after Mysterium, but then we pieced the rest of it together over time, and I think it changed a bit, and it got, I don't know, like, yeah, I could see Hammers of Misfortune. I could see like almost like Soundgarden moments or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's we were pretty happy with it. We grew up in the '90s, so we're like, yeah, some of these sound like bands that we reminded us of in the '90s.
Yeah.
So
You got a lot of vinyl behind you. Is there any particular piece that you're most proud of? Like, what's some of your most collectibles?
I don't know. I got a lot of like a lot of extreme metal records. I've got a lot of like first pressings of different different records. I don't know like what would be my most prized record, but yeah, I buy a lot of vinyl over the years and keep it pretty much right there.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I want to go back and buy on vinyl, like the early 2000s Enslaved, and that was when they didn't have it, and it's just like, really, it's hard to believe that for like, was it like 8 years, the record companies were like, oh, fuck the vinyl.
Yeah, I have a problem with like ever since I used to, like do crate digging and go to record stores all the time, but like I feel lazy, but now that Discogs is around, it's like literally anywhere in the world you're gonna find that one pressing that, like it could be the first pressing or whatever, and it's like,
Right.
I love buying those because it's like, I feel, especially if it's like a seminal record, I feel like it's a piece of history, and when you get that, I try to imagine what it was like to open that, like
Yeah.
when it was new, for like being a kid hearing it for the first time, and
Yeah.
and that's exactly the copy, that like somebody
Yeah.
did that with, and pretty cool. But
Yeah. I think it's the first Grand Funk album. Like the CD, like you could barely hear the bass, and the bass is so important in their music. So I
yeah,
went and bought the original first pressing of the vinyl, and it turns
nice.
out that has no bass. So
Oh,
whoever did the remaster did the best they could. And I was like, fuck, I thought I would found the solution.
wow, it's like
But
Injustice for
yeah,
All, huh?
yeah, like Justice for All, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, I
I don't know if
remember I
I've
couldn't
heard that
even
one.
get like even like COC Wise Blood was not pressed on vinyl until recently, and I was like, that is an album that is so worthy of being on vinyl. My God.
Yeah, I
Right.
just
Yeah.
thank you, Cavalera.
Yeah,
It's
right.
weird
Well,
going back through like discographies and seeing that, especially underground stuff. They'll be like, one release was CD only. Like, what?
right.
What? Why did they do that?
It all made sense to somebody, I guess.
I've seen
Yeah.
cassette only. I'm like, really? That's what we have?
Yeah.
Cassette?
Well, that's even a little bit more collectible, I guess.
Yeah. I like to buy in tapes. But I don't have a working tape player at the moment. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're cool though. But I was trying to find like a tape deck to add to my my stereo, and there was like, I thought it'd be cheap, but not at all. Like anywhere I could find like even a used one was like fairly expensive. It's like, for a tape player, Probably gonna
Wow,
break.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, where there was no more Radio Shack. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny that we keep coming back to Portland for this type of music. And it's like it seems like such an interconnected community. And I didn't realize till we were talking to Shane from Great Falls that their drummer used to be with you
Lord
guys.
dying,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, Nick, yeah. Yeah, he plays in another band called Gatheist too. It's really great. They've been doing that for a long time. Yeah, he's a fantastic drummer. Great dude.
Yeah, really good.
So do you think the climate there contributes to all this
Great metal.
great metal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, there's nothing to do unless you want to be wet and cold for most of the year. So it gives you a lot of opportunity to write riffs.
Yeah, we would also say the same thing about some Scandinavian countries. We think we're onto a theory there.
I think
For
isn't
sure.
it the same? Isn't it the same latitude like Norway and in the Northwest? I think I read
I'd
that
say
somewhere.
I think it's probably closer to England. We have pretty similar weather to the
Oh,
UK.
yeah, that's what it was. Right.
Gray and rainy
And the
all
weather's
time.
shitty over there too.
Yeah. They're a little farther north, so like maybe north of Vancouver, BC might be a little closer to like Oslo and
Yeah.
Stockholm.
Or
But, yeah.
Sasquatch. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah.
I saw you. There was a lot of flooding and stuff out that way just because of all the rain recently.
It was crazy, yeah. I drive for a living and it was gnarly, especially early in the morning before sunlight. A lot of standing water and people driving like idiots. So yeah, it was interesting.
Do you drive 18-wheeler or?
No, I drive for Lyft.
Oh, for Lyft. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I know those trucks don't exactly stop on a dime, so.
No.
Yeah.
He's in logistics, so he's well versed.
I deal with trucking all the time, yeah. So.
Oh, okay, right on.
So, are you ready to play the game Blaspheming Monikers?
Sure, yeah. Let's do it.
We'll take a shot. Okay. All right, here we go. One of these is fake. The other 4 are real. So, 1, Twilight of Christ. 2, Twilight Glimmer. 3, Twilight Prophecy. 4, Twilight Fauna. And 5, Saturn Twilight. So which Twilight do you think is fake?
Ooh, it's hard to say. Twilight Glimmer?
No, they're death metal from Colombia. And they have 5 albums. Yeah. Twilight Glimmer. That doesn't sound like Colombian death metal to me.
Glimmer doesn't sound like something death metal at all.
They might sound like Sarcophago or something, but they definitely don't. That's not a good name for that type of music. All right, so that leaves Twilight of Christ, Saturn Twilight, Twilight Prophecy, and Twilight Fauna.
Oh, maybe man, I could see all those being bands, to be honest.
Yeah.
Twilight, let's go with Twilight Christ.
They're Polish black metal.
I
But
actually
they
kind
only
of
have
like
2
that.
demos. Yeah, they're real though. So yeah.
I thought that
All right,
one
let's
was
do one-
too good to be real, so I guess I was wrong. But
All right, one more. Try one more.
okay. Wow. Twilight Fauna.
Now they're from Tennessee and they have 9 albums, black metal.
Wow.
So they've been around for a while. The one I made up was Twilight Prophecy. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that being a name.
yeah, it sounds like a Fates Warning kind of thing, So
I know of black metal bands, actually, a couple of bands, one called Twilight and one called Fauna. So that's funny that there's also
Mhm.
those names.
Yeah, we saw Wolves in the Throne Room. And
yeah.
they definitely bring that black metal from the woods thing. I mean, they even had incense burning and that huge drum kit. I mean, they were never like my band, but after seeing them live, they totally converted me. I mean, they are amazing. Yeah.
They're great live for sure. Yeah. I haven't seen them in a while. I saw them a lot, like 2007, 2008. But I like the last record and that tour. We were on tour at the time, but I wanted to see that tour they just did with with Oaks and Black Braid. Is that the one you saw?
That's the one we went to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. It took me a while to get into the bands that are like, they're not this is a cool riff kind of band. They're like sit back for 9 minutes and then you'll be floored, you know. And it took me a while to get into that kind of black metal, you know, but now I love it. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's an experience and a journey through their songs.
definitely, yeah.
So I know I wanted to pick your brain about the video for I Am Everything, I Am Nothing.
Mhm.
With the blinded person and the giant kind of squid thing, I was like, what is this symbolizing?
Yeah. Oh yeah, with
Uh,
the like the spider warning in the beginning
Yeah.
about arachnophobia. Yeah, yeah.
it's supposed to be that wasn't like our idea, but I believe it's supposed to be Lovecraft and
Okay.
Ah,
the giant like thing with tentacles is the the thing that could not be.
Oh right, right. Yeah, all the Lovecraft had tentacles. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah.
ancient one.
Exactly.
so you just completed a European tour recently. I heard they feed you really well there. Is that true?
Yes, the catering is always amazing. Yeah, no, we were there for like a month, and I don't think we had to buy like a single meal the whole time. You know, it's like
Oh, that's
even
cool.
like when you get there in the morning, breakfast is ready, lunch, dinner, everything. Yeah.
That's cool.
What was your favorite kind of food?
Oh, we had a lot of good stuff. Yeah, it's hard to say. Uh, yeah, I wish the other guys were here because they would be able to. We talked about it on tour, and I can't even remember now. But like,
I'm sure it all kind of blurs together after a
Yeah.
while.
for
Yeah, we
sure,
were talking.
yeah. I
We
would just say
we
it was all good. They don't like we've done a lot of like U.S. tours before where we have dinner like in the in the rider, and then like it ends up being like some spaghettios or like a little Caesar's pizza or something, and you're like, oh
right.
man, come on. Like
Yeah.
there's never
Yeah.
anything like that over there though.
That's cool. Yeah, we interviewed Jacob from Mercenary, and he said the worst food he ever was had to eat when he was on tour was like in Asia was scorpions, fried scorpions. And he
Whoa.
said that he like they were very juicy and they kind of explode in your mouth and stuff.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds really gross.
Yeah, exactly. Really gross. I think he said it was in Vietnam or something or whatever. Yeah, so really gross. Yeah.
And of course, they're really reserved over there. So he wasn't going to say, this is awful, you know?
Yeah, he was a very polite
Right.
Danish person, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, this is really good.
So are you have any tour plans to support the new album coming up yet? And maybe do you have any idea what a list might be like?
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely plan a tour on it. We'll do US and we'll do Europe again. We want to do support, and then we also want to do headline before the end of the album cycle. I think that the plan is to do at least half of the set will be all new stuff, and then kind of disperse the rest of the set throughout the other 3 records. But for the most part, it'll all be new stuff. So we're
That's
looking
cool.
forward to it.
That's cool
Yeah, well,
stuff.
hopefully we'll get you over this way on the East Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
So I like your shirt. What's the best Wasp album?
Oh man. Well, it's the first 2 for sure.
The first one is the best one.
It
You know,
is,
it's
but
interesting that when
the only reason I hesitate is because Wild Child's not on it, and that song
that is
rules.
such a that's like the perfect rock and roll song. I mean, like
It is.
you know, like Bon Jovi like heard that song and was like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
can't top that." You know, it's perfect. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I thought that like back in the day when I was so hardcore, and the first album was so the meat and the torture and the S&M shit, and then Last Command was like, okay, Blind in Texas.
Yeah.
It's a little more sing-songy. The guy that produced, actually, I looked it up. Mike Varney from Shrapnel produced the first album. And
Okay.
the second album is produced from the guy who did Metal Health, Quiet Riot. So that kind of explains it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, because I needed to know what happened.
Yeah. No, it's that's interesting. I wonder how much different that would have been. Yeah, I love the first record. I think overall, obviously, the first record's a better record, but Wild Child's such a great song.
It really is. And then what's that? The one, the live album that's fake. What's it? Live in the Raw. It's got the Manimal on it, and that's not on anything else. Like what? And 9 to 5, Nasty. Like there's songs on there that are so great that should have been on the studio albums and they're not. It's just, I don't know. I don't understand some of the decisions that were made back then, So
I don't know. I think it's crazy though, especially with that first record, that they were a hair metal band because it's so much darker and gnarlier than the rest of all those bands. But also somehow totally fits right in there. It's like it's perfect.
yeah. I was like Mr. Shout at the Devil, like when I was like 15. And this friend of mine, he brought me that Wasp album. He goes, you're gonna love this. If you like Shout at the Devil, this destroys it. And I was like, bring it on. And he was right. I mean,
yeah. That's a great record.
Crazy. Anyway, well, this has been great. Yeah.
Well, we look forward. This is going to be a huge release. I can tell already.
Yeah, it's great.
Really, really good. With like the subject matter, has anyone come up to you and said, "Hey, you helped me through a hard time," or emailed you about it?
We have. There was with the last record. There was a guy that said that to us in Reno, and he became friends with us, and he's a big fan, and he's awesome. So it's been cool.
Yeah, I love that scene, the bonus disc from the Big Four Live, where they're outside and they're hugging I think they're in Russia or something, or one of those Russian type adjacent countries. And the guy comes up to Tom Araya and he can't even talk. He just cries because he can't believe he's meeting. And Tom Araya just hugs him and goes, "I know, dude. I know." It's so awesome. It's like the power of music, so cool.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's so awesome.
Who does your great t-shirt designs? I think I'm going to have oh my God, they're so awesome.
Yeah, they are really cool.
I love all the skulls and the snakes. And it's great.
Yeah, we've had lots of different artists. We had, like, the most recent one was a guy named John Dix. He's a tattoo artist from Barcelona. He did one of the most recent ones, and then another tattoo artist from Austin, Texas, named Zach, did the face melt shirt. Other than that, there's a local guy that's done a few shirts for us. His name's Matt Steiker. He's a great artist. He also plays in a really good band called Drouth. He did the several shirts for us, the Wolf one and the one with the Grim Reaper in space.
I like that one.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and like we kind of just let it up to him on that, and he just comes up with awesome stuff every time he does one for us. So we'll have to do another one for sure.
A lot of your stuff reminds me of High on Fire. Did you ever get to meet Matt Pike from High on Fire?
Yeah, we know him very well. Actually, our bass player used to be married to Matt Pike.
Oh my God! Well, it doesn't get any better than that.
And our guitar player plays in Matt Pike's solo project.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah. The first time I saw High on Fire was at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, and he got on stage and he had like a black eye, and he never explained why he had a black eye, and I just was like, "This band rules."
Yeah, of course. I can see that for sure.
Exactly.
And you don't have to question Matt.
No, never. Yeah, and this was back when they first were. He was really young back then, so I was just like, "Wow, now I'm totally sold." Yeah. So.
Yeah, he's the real deal for sure.
Yeah.
And we got to catch them at Hell in the Harbor. Oh my God.
And they still were great. That was just last year. Yeah, they're still
so we'd love to get you guys out for something like that.
Yeah, if you guys come out to Baltimore, we'll definitely be there. Yeah. So
right on. Yeah, I'm sure we'll do that in 2024 at some point.
If you have a choice between the Metro and Baltimore Soundstage, do the Metro because they have cheaper beer.
Oh yeah, right
You'll
on.
get a better turnout. So.
For sure. It's good to know.
This is the Snaggletooth Extreme Metal Podcast.